What you think? 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 What you think?
Worldshift Media is a transparent social enterprise and charity coalition. To invest or donate, visit worldshiftmedia.org.
To see all of you here and our distinguished panel of speakers and guests this evening. My name is Dr. Robin Wood. I'm president of Renaissance 2 and along with David Wolfson and others on this panel, one of the co-founders of the Worldshift Alliance.
I'd like to reflect for a moment on this moment. We talked about this being a historic place. We are at a historic moment, a unique moment, not just today here in London, but all over the world in the history of humanity. We have to be part of this movement because this is our chance. I'm convinced that we, all of us, can change the world. Each of us can change the world. I think we can do it. Together we can do it. Yes, thank you.
And indeed, it's not just a wake-up call, as Irvin said, it's a call to action. We were talking earlier, and all of us agreeing that, you know, we continue to need to speak with each other, but now we really have to translate talk into action.
We all need to commit to uniting and caring for nature and for our global family. We need this conscious shift. We need to shift our attitudes and to realise that every one of us has the power to make a difference.
About a year ago, Dr. Laszlo sent me a manuscript of his newest book, Worldshift Now, it was called at the time, and asked me what I thought of it and how that book could have the impact of the 1972 book published by the Club of Rome, of which he was a member, which was called Limits to Growth. I said, well, that's a tough one because I'm not sure who reads books anymore, but maybe something shorter, you know, might help. So I suggested an article, and then I said, you know, we have all these people that we kind of know and work with, all these groups, maybe we should kind of see what they think of it. And he said, well, that's not an article, it's a declaration. And I said, okay, great. And he said, would you write the first draft? And I said, okay, thank you, what an honor.
I'm Barbara Marks Hubbard, and I'm happy to have this opportunity to speak of the immense importance of declaring global emergency. It's the first time that a species has ever known that by its own actions it could render itself extinct.
Well, my dream really started just a couple of years ago. And as Dr. Carvin said earlier, someone who starts with a dream can make it a reality. Well, the beauty was that actually I realised I had the skill base to take my dream into reality, and that was for a universal declaration of planetary rights. What we will be doing with Worldshift is, of course, charting the progress. It's one thing to actually get it into the United Nations, but there are various steps that have to be carried through. And it's also very important that this is carried through by 2012 and that we don't lose the momentum for it. So we will help and move that journey along as it progresses. So you shall be hearing more about this as time moves on. Thank you.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall, and I want to say how passionately I believe in the importance of Worldshift 2012. Traveling around the world as I do 300 days a year, everywhere I see signs of the damage that we've inflicted on planet Earth, on the environment and on society. And I don't think there's very much time left. We need to get together and take action and with new consciousness work to heal some of the harm that we've inflicted. So I urge everybody to think about joining and taking part in Worldshift 2012.
I birthed Humanity Unites Brilliance about a year and a half ago. I've been executive director of a non-profit. The planet has great capabilities of serving itself. The question is, are we able, are we equipped, are you equipped to truly serve this planet today?
We live in interesting times, and not only are we midwives to birthing a new age, but we also need to be hospice workers to quietly lay to rest the old age and be sensitive to that too.
There is a wave of consciousness change coming. This is our hope. This is what we want to accelerate. We have the means, we have the technology, we have the energy, we have incredible amount of energy coming to us from the sun. Why we could be using it? We can recycle almost everything that we are using. We don't need to accumulate waste and pollute everything. We could live well on this earth, 7, 8, maybe 10 billion people. We need a different kind of awareness, a different kind of consciousness. What I see is happening here, this kind of consciousness coming about. This is why I say, we'll make it, but let's get together to make it.
I'm Dr. Robin Lincoln Wood of Renaissance 2. My and the observations of others involved in Renaissance 2 and the Worldshift Alliance have led us to believe that if we wish to survive as a species and meet the 10-year deadline of 2020 that looms before us, we have no choice but to mobilize on a massive scale.
The human species is panicking because it's going to run out of its fossil fuels. Its climate, its waters are breaking. We're going to be inundated, and we're not prepared for it. So there's fear, like a newborn baby.
What do we have to do in order to have a global shift and to focus on those change levers so there can be a universal understanding of what needs to happen?
We have never seen the emerging world. We've seen the world that's dying, but we have not seen the world that's being born in our midst, partially due to the crisis and partially due to the genius of humanity to create.
Well, the key focus of this conference was a call to action. We were saying to people, look, it's all very well having all these capabilities, technologies, processes and resources that we have today, But unless we focus them with a laser beam on the absolutely essential things that we have to do to make it through in the next decade, we're going to fail as a civilization.
A big part of Renaissance 2's mission is to catalyze social innovation that leads to a renewable and thriving civilization.
We have a phrase, we scan for, map, connect, and communicate that which is working for coherent mobilization for action.
In the Worldshift room, you scan for innovation, success, breakthrough at any scale, in every field.
We talk about bringing business genius to global emergencies and new opportunities. That's what Renaissance 2 does. And to do that, to transition ourselves, our organization, and our species through this great shift over the next few decades, we're going to have to mobilize the largest coordinated series of campaigns in human history, right around the planet.
This event now has come in as the first Great Shift gathering. And the biggest thing that we've understood is that business has a crucial role to play in the future. Business, be it small enterprises, medium, multinationals, is now the largest type of organization on the planet, spanning countries, and as the dominant organization form has an absolutely vital role to play as we move forwards.
Because entrepreneurship, creative entrepreneurship with an evolutionary purpose is probably the most capable of being an agent of evolution on this planet.
It's being done in a very 21st century way. That's why we call it the Second Renaissance, because we're harnessing not only individual genius, but the collective genius of groups of people with great diversity of different ecosystems of capabilities that can make things happen.
I became convinced that there were several key differences that made this a new event. For one thing, Robin made one statement that I had never heard before in quite the same way. He said, the emergency on the planet is also an interconnected series of business opportunities of enormous scale.
To build on what's working and what people are already co-creating in order to accelerate what needs to happen in the next decade.
Focus on what really needs to be done and why, and how we can leverage and mobilize and focus our resources in such a way to facilitate emergence, because I think that's the key issue.
I think it's critical. If we're going to shift anything in our broader world, the challenges we face today, we need a new approach for working together towards a common purpose that gets around the ecosystems we see currently and shifts us towards something that is more responsive to the challenges we face, can deal with complexity.
And that's the role of Renaissance 2, to act as a connector, to act as a catalyst for social innovation that will lead to a renewable and resilient civilization.
And this networking with networks, this mesh work, this big, big, big tent of committed change agents, that also inspired me. And then the people who are involved, that was also a huge source of inspiration. In the end, I felt honored, and it's been a completely compelling 5 days in which enormously talented, well-connected, effective people of tremendous intelligence and goodwill have found common ground in a way that I had only hoped for beforehand.
My name's Madeleine Marentet, and I'm here at the Worldshift in France. Happy to be here representing Grail Springs. And our message that we're bringing here today is the message of the importance of the correlation, or understanding the correlation of the health of the planet, the health of the human being, and the health of the cell.
Well, I'm Kathy G, and I come from England. And I work with emergent leaders in the cultural and heritage sectors.
I'm Claire Gaudry, and I'm here representing the International Brain Education Association, otherwise known as IBREA.
I'm David Wolfson from Toronto, Canada. I have been working with Ervin Laszlo in the Club of Budapest for over 10 years.
I'm really an academic masquerading as a consultant activist. So I guess I'm a mind in search of solutions to very complex problems. So now I'm interested in an alliance for sure, a global alliance. How do we put together the 6.7 billion Earthlings? And where are the models for managing that diversity and that complexity in the context of major change?
It's about you contributing your awareness, your attention,
your life energy, and your commitment to something bigger than yourself. And this is a chance for us to enact that together and to become a coherent field.
It's not a neutral universe. There's a tendency in the universe for that which is innovative to connect most specifically at times of crisis.
It moves on from a state of global emergency, but into a promise of hope, that there is hope. If we can collectively and consciously, by 2012, decide that we want a sustainable future, then we can actually do it.
I see this event as really just one of many events, but it has some special importance. We created the Worldshift Alliance. We co-created the Worldshift Alliance together here in Perpignan in October 2009.
By co-founding the Worldshift Alliance with the Foundation for Conscious Evolution in Worldshift 2012, we've actually demonstrated, even this week in this event, this massively successful event, just how we can mobilize human inspiration, energy, and genius.
I'm going to take away a greater confidence in the fact that we are doing much of what we say we are doing.
And we embrace that responsibility, and through embracing that responsibility we find our own liberation from our own ego, and then life could not be better, even when it's very challenging.
This is the conferences that in every city around the world we have people saying, I want to take Renaissance 2 into my city. I want to take what you're doing in those crucibles into my city, into our businesses, into our NGOs, into our government and our culture. That's saying that we have the seeds here of a whole new future.
I would say the poetic goal of the Worldshift Alliance is a planetary birth experience by 2012. That would mean a sufficient amount of coherence and connectiveness that we could feel we could take our first coordinated breath on this planet. That we have the energy, the food, and the resources to make it through the crisis together, such that we can begin to approach an unknown future. It's certainly not that we will have solved everything, but if we can coordinate enough to know we can make it through, there's nothing to stop humanity. And we can have a moment of celebration, just as you do when a baby is born and opens its eyes for the first time.
Are we not wise enough to give all we are?
Many people doubt if a few people can change the world, and actually that's the only thing that ever has.
Outshine the stars.
Can we get away from corporate greed? Can we get away from self, from the promotion of self?
When we have a chance to make a difference till our dying day.
It's very simple and very old. We need a holistic perspective. If not, we are really losing.
Politicians moves when the people move. We have to move the people.
Say it's destiny.
Sometimes it happens in history that there is something changes in the human mind, no? It's like a need arises, and then it's not only one-to-one how it starts to spread.
To give all we are.
I think I have never met somebody who has not the potential to change. You can find with everybody this moment.
So if this is the moment, then we will see very interesting things in the future.
And finding its way. When we have a chance to make a difference till our dying day. All I'm really asking is, what are we doing here?
in now is the kind of more, I guess, hippie, if you want to call it. It's more sort of psychedelic, more esoteric feel. We want to tell people about sustainability and kind of a bit more conscious about what they're doing.
Hi, I'm Mark Healy. I'm going to be speaking at the Worldshift Arena about the convergence of 2012. Worldshift are partners in an alliance which is coming together to create a peaceful and positive 2012. And that's really what we're here to talk about, is how to actually use this convergence point to really express the core values of the emerging global culture. The festival's a place where people are open to new ideas, where it's a convergence point in itself. Basically going to where people are and really making this as participatory and grassroots as we possibly can. It's great, we're really building up to something. There's a huge amount of interest in 2012 as a meme. That's like a sort of self-replicating idea. So, you know, most people in the Western world have at least heard of 2012. Unfortunately, many of them have heard it from the point of view of it's the end of the world. So really what we're doing is we're bringing clarity to the fact that actually the Maya never said that, and that really it's the same applies on December 21st, 2012 as any other day, which is it's really what we make it. It's been happening for a while. There's really a broader alliance which is formulating of like-minded people who share the same values, and one of the really big ones is the idea that we should be moving forward towards really a planetary vision. So, you know, one of the things that really drops away quite quickly in that is the idea of war, because obviously, you know, deadly conflict between different groups of humans tends to lose its appeal when you see yourself as part of one humanity.
And in a way, I think that most people would actually like to be part of the solution if only they knew what it was they needed to do to be part of it. The world needs to shift and into something that it isn't already, and that is harmonic, sustainable, beautiful existence for everybody on the planet. Not a third of the planet going hungry because 2% of the planet are greedy and hold on to most of the resources. Somehow that pyramid of power has got to flatten out and kind of even out. We're experiencing the antithesis of what it is to be separate from the earth, from our spiritual selves, from our star brothers and sisters, you know, and from each other. And in that separation, we're ripping the planet to pieces. And once we realize that we're all part of the same thing happening, our actions actually turn from being selfish to selfless. And we start putting our energy into putting it all back together again instead of ripping it apart. In some ways, Worldshift, if we could look back in time, is kind of one of the many waves coasting in towards the shore that is part of the solution coming together. The reason hydrogen and oxygen stick together as water is love. Therefore, all of nature, everything that isn't a dry rock of this planet, is the expression of love on this planet.
We also have the forum at Secret Productions, and that's also taken to Secret Garden Party, and it's very much encouraged to have those sort of elements there as well, so people can go along and just have a talk about anything they want to, and then maybe have a debate here or there, and just really encourage the community spirit of it as well.
Well, today I did a little talk about kindness, and I think the best way to express how important and beautiful and what a nice experience being kind can be is to give people a chance to actually do it. So we had a bunch of presents wrapped, and we gave everyone in the audience a present, and we watched them as they gave the presents away to people in the street. Kindness is a participation sport. It's something you should all get involved in to see just how much fun it is. It leaves happy memories. It creates a really nice feeling inside you that gives it the opportunity to grow, and the next time you do it, you feel even better. Kindness is a one-word philosophy.
We've described ourselves as uncompromising revolutionaries, peacefully at odds with those who would destroy creation. We don't move that line at all. We want to be kind and nice to everybody, and that's the line in the sand that we draw, and we're uncompromising on that. That's why we're here at a festival, because it's fun. You can't destroy creation while you're having fun. You can't hold a gun while you're handing out something, a toy, a present to somebody else. That's what we're trying to do, just individually make it the best that we can, uncompromised.
Do you find find something out really interesting. We went to Hay on Wye the other week, and there's some great sort of philosophy talks and stuff, and it's, you know, fascinating, and especially when you kind of have that and you're outside and you've got great friendly people and the music's great. All of it just goes to kind of, hopefully people leave a little bit better, like they've grown a bit.